Oliver, Burberry launched some very disappointing sales numbers today, which has absolutely slashed its share price. What's going on with Burberry?
Well, yes, they've released an unexpected trading update this morning that sent the shares down 20%. What they've said is that while overall sales growth over the past few weeks is about 6%, that's all due to new stores that they're opening. Same store sales growth is 0. That's the continuation of what's been a slowing trend for them. Through last year, same store sales growth at Burberry was about in the mid-teens. It slowed to 6% in the first quarter of their financial year. That was the 3 months to June. And then since June, it's slowed to 0. They're saying it's all been quite recent. It's all happened in the past couple of weeks. But nevertheless, it's quite disappointing for a company that had been seen as one of the high growth plays in the luxury market, particularly on Asia and China. So that's why the shares have been hit quite hard this morning. Right,
well, exactly. I mean, it seems as though luxury and Asia, that was really what was driving these prices up. I mean, is it Asia now? Is that the problem for Burberry? And is this something across the industry, or is this something specific to Burberry?
Well, frustratingly for investors, Burberry won't really say. That this morning's statement is very light on detail. Burberry says there's been a very broad-based slowdown across all operations, and that it's not clear yet whether it's just Asia or whether it's other areas as well. So that they've not helped by releasing very little detail. What they do say is that, speaking informally to other retailers, they're seeing similar trends. So we might see other retailers talking about a slowdown over the next few weeks or so.
Right, okay. So this same-store sales, no growth, I mean, that was then across the board. That was in Europe and Asia. But then how does Burberry measure its performance? I mean, they talk about Asia driving sales, but how can they be sure that that's sales so for Asians coming to Europe to spend money, or Asian spending in China? I mean, how can they be sure that what's causing this, and how can they therefore address that?
Well, again, it's very unclear from the statement. They say that they've focused on getting the statement out very quickly to the market, so they've sacrificed a bit of colour. But particularly in Europe, you're right, an awful lot of their sales do come from overseas tourists coming and spending in Europe. They say that overseas tourists on any day can account for 30 or even 50% of sales from their big European stores, such as those in Regent Street in London. So the Asian play does have a big impact on what Burberry does. So it's hard to escape the conclusion that some sort of Asian slowdown, either locally or in Asia or in Europe, is playing a part in this low growth that Burberry is experiencing.
Okay, and then there would seem to be some, if you like, overheating in the luxury market. I mean, valuations were going extremely high. So is this just not a kind of more realistic correction in the market, as opposed to, anything more serious than that?
Certainly there has been a correction. Burberry's rating has already come down. It was over 20, then it came down towards sort of 18, now it's down towards 17 and 16 after today's share price movement. That brings it more into line with some of its rivals, although there's still some companies such as Prada and Hermes, which are still very highly rated, 120 times forecast earnings. But the whole sector has been coming off slightly, and that's been accelerated today. Share prices across the sector have fallen 5 to 6% for some of the bigger luxury goods companies. Even Hermes, which makes ultra high-end, ultra luxury goods, is down 3% today, but it's not at all clear that Hermes is driven by the same sorts of things as Burberry is. Certainly Hermes has been more positive recently than Burberry has.
Okay, so overall, I mean, things for Burberry are not looking that good, and we're going to have to wait and see as to how the others do, as to work out whether it's an across-the-board problem. Thanks, Oliver.